Hello everyone and welcome to the final race of our Pocono weekend. We're at the Comcast Pennsylvania 500 at the Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Alex Bignacca, the hometown man, well, home state guy at least, is on pole in the Reese's number 83. Alongside him, Irving Allison, the winner of 2 weeks ago at I-69. Carson Bowers, Cody Goforth in row 2, Jay Jefferson, Anderson Reed in row 3, sporting the Wawa colors, which will probably be received a bit better out here on the east coast of PA compared to western PA, which was Sheets dominated out at Steelback. Carter Friesen rolls off 7th with Larry Hagan 8th, Colton Lane 9th, and Max Anderson gets another top 10 starting position. We'll see if he can get a top 10 finish there, rolling off from the 10th position in that number 12. This is going to be a long race. It's much longer than well, not much longer, but it's at least one fuel run longer than the trucks. The fuel window for this race predicted to be just a little bit shorter than the trucks one was, possibly by even 5 or 6 laps shorter. We'll see how it plays out in the race, but we're thinking there might be some more pit stops in this event than we saw in the truck doubleheaders. You see in 11th, 12th, and 13th, 3 Onge Auto cars, Kobza and Ray in 12th and 11th in the 8404. Rolling off right there. Austin Johnson, Kalahari jumps on the car. He rolls off 16th. Jeff Alloway rolls off 19th. And Logan Cloud, the rivalry there between the 91 and 77 for the rest of this year, as Alloway is Cloud's replacement. They're going to be fighting hard for it probably into turn 1. And you see the Pocono Organic CBD number 47, a local sponsor here to the Pocono Mountains. Rolls off in 21st with Matthew Eves. Joseph Strigley last season had a vicious crash here that sidelined him for a week after that. He is back in this car hoping that it goes better this time, but rolling off pretty far back in the 23rd position. Eli Bright had a good finish to the second doubleheader. He's now fighting possibly could he win this race. It's going to be unlikely, especially with one of his teammates, Ryan Butcher, DNQing this event. Butcher's second DNQ of the season. We'll see what Eli can do. Came runner-up to Eves in yesterday's race here at Pocono. Jacob Edson at the back. There's Christian Vargas for HBP. They're back, and they're running the full race. Happy to see them out there. And Sam Picard in the 52 is a big hitter for Ronnie Hank Racing. The last time he was in this car, he got a top 10 finish at Road America. Look at these two at the back. Actually, a good group of cars in the back. Dusty Neal, Sebastian Kuklon, Brandon Morris, all starting sub-30th and 32nd, 34th, and 35th. Those are some cars you're going to be watching to tear through the field quickly. It was announced, though, the 55 and 16 teams swapped equipment after Nashville. So now Morris has 4 wins on the season. He's looking for his 3rd in a row today. And if you remember, the only driver in NSDCA history to do so, Eli Bright last season. Did Eli break the curse, or will the 55 team fail to win 3 in a row? Gatlin down near the back. There's freezing that. William Duncan, both of his cars this weekend, the truck and the cup car, failed at post-qualifying inspection. Don't know if it was something with the crews or what, but he rolls off 39th after would have started 26th. And Mikey Yamakaze, they cheated to qualify 40th, and they got caught. Now they're 40th. We'll see what Yamakaze and Duncan can do from the rear of the grid. But we're going to get ready to go down trackside for the commands here at the Comcast Pennsylvania 500. It's going to be a 60-lap event at the Tricky Triangle. Let's see who will win. 60 laps ahead of us here at Pocono.
Drivers, start your engines!
Pepsi and the NSDCA have teamed up this season to bring you the Pepsi Pole Award for the fastest qualifier in all 26 on Drop Cup Series races this season. Today, it's Alex Bignacca in the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups number 83 for Shade Burkhardt Racing on pole, a PA native looking to do what Morris did a couple weeks ago and win in the home state. Out here at Pocono, it's a tricky track at this tricky triangle. Will Alex Bignacca be the one to tame all 3 corners and win, or will someone else in the field finally break the Toyota streak of race wins? With that, the engines are fired. We're rolling off for these 60 laps here at Pocono. Bignacca and Irving Allison on the front row. 2 Toyotas hungry to get a win themselves this season. Irving has 1. Bignacca has none so far. But what would it be to get the Reese's 83, a local manufacturer, of course, Hershey, just about an hour or 2 south from Pocono. And Alex Bignacca from the Pittsburgh area, he is on this pole, trying to do what Morris did at Steelback, win in front of the home state crowd. See if that 83 team can go to victory lane. The thing is, though, Toyotas have won on all of the ovals this season. 7 wins total, 4 with Morris, 2 with Kukulon, 1 with Irving Allison. The road courses gone to Tib Foster and Matty Porta, 1 for Dodge and Chevy apiece. However, this is classified as a speedway, but it's 3 corners, not 4, making it a triangle and not an oval. It is a very unique track on the schedule, and this could be the shot for Dodge and Chevy, and maybe even Ford, with Max Anderson running so good this season. They could possibly break in and take out Toyota from winning maybe 8 of the first 10 races. And it's interesting to see that in the previous years, we've seen Dodge dominance all over. They win championships, they win a ton of races on the year because they have so many teams, but Toyota with the SBR BGM Alliance leading Dytech and Sladek Motorsports Group, those two teams are doing great this season and are all trying to win titles in all 3 divisions, which is very, very fun to see. But Alex Beniaco and Irving Allison leading us down. It's going to be a 60-lap event here at Pocono. Beniaco versus Allison up front, green flags in the air, and we're racing at the Pocono Speedway. And Bowers and Jefferson are going to waste no time. 3 wide into turn 1 for the race lead. They want the Toyotas out of here quickly, and that's what they're going to do. Bowers is going to take the lead away immediately as Jefferson tries to slide up, tries the slide job to clear the 83 and 16, and he does, as Beniaco's now trying to get in front of Irving. And down the back straightaway, Carson Bowers to the point already for Anjato's number 25. Jefferson in second. Toyota's fighting for third and fourth, and here they come through the tunnel turn, a very tricky part of the course. You could see some crashes coming out of here if you're 2 and 3 wide, and no, they're going to stay 2 by 2. We saw an early crash in the first of the doubleheader races of this weekend for the Truck Series. And now the 2 Dodges of Bowers and Jefferson pulling away. Cody Goforth in second, or Cody Goforth in third, Freeze in fourth. Beniaco already back to fifth, 1 lap in. He doesn't even get to lead the opening lap of this race as they come down the front straightaway again. Jefferson hanging on to the draft of Bowers right now, and Anjato and TSR trying to win this season. TSR has 0 wins this year. Jefferson has dominated races and just does not have the wins to show for it. Has 0 wins when he should have easily had at least 3 or 4 wins this year, and especially would have taken him away from the 55 of Morris, but he's going side by side for the lead. So if I was Jay, I don't know if I'd want to be up there fighting for the lead this early. I think even though you'd have to fight later, maybe just kind of running second to fifth instead of leading laps could possibly break the curse and get you into victory lane instead of dominating the races. Just kind of hang up there and steal it at the end like the 55 has done to him a couple times this year. But Jefferson's going to get a run on that outside line down the front straightaway. Here he goes, duck into the inside. Draft is key here at Pocono. And especially with the trucks and cup cars pretty much having the same engine package, they both hit some pretty high horsepower. But of course, with the trucks having much more development than the cup cars, these are kind of slower than the trucks on the bigger tracks. So draft is going to be even more key. Having a great aero package is going to be important to get some moves done here at Pocono, especially if you're trying to pull away out in front on your own, as now Jay Jefferson will. He takes the race lead away. Carter Friesen's been running great this season for Sauber. They're moving up to the 3rd spot, or trying to, on Bowers. Of course, remember, this is Friesen's final year of NSDCA competition, joining Zachary Fitzwater Sr. in retirement there. So that's another 2 drivers from the inaugural season of the NSDCA. Season 1 of the Mountain Dew Custom Series ran 7 years ago. That is another 2 drivers that will be gone from that, joining the likes of guys like Alex Kraft, who's gone to IndyCar, Randy Kaiser, Tyler Jones, Derek Hamill, just to name a few more that have ran since the beginning of the series and have retired in the previous years. Up front, though, it's a 3-car train as Jefferson's trying to hang on over Goforth and Bowers. Friesen, Beniaco, and Peter Onjak started this race in that 44. He started at 13th. He's already up to 6th after 4 laps, making a big move here. And I just got to give a shout out to the pit crew, or the camera crews here this weekend, giving us these amazing shots. Pocono always has a great camera setup, and these beautiful shots of coming down the straightaways where you can see everyone making those moves and switching lines are amazing camera work. So thank you to the guys that are on the track right now, giving us these great shots of these battles for these spots, as Onjak is going to take that on the outside of Beniaco. And that's a good thing about this track, bit of a momentum-based, draft-based track. You got some slow corners there at 2 and 3. They're 90 degree or more and not really banked, so you have to get down and brake for them. But down in turn 1, it's a banked corner, so you can carry some more speed. So three unique corners here at this unique track. triangle in the middle of the Long Pond Pocono Mountains. Up front, though, Friesen is trying to catch these top three. Doesn't look like Goforth wants to go, but Bowers wants to go in that 25. Going to jump to the inside. Not going to happen, though, as Goforth all over the back of Jefferson. And if JJ wants to keep leading laps, go ahead. But as we said, you know, does he really want to lead these laps? Does he want to dominate? Because he's dominated about 4 or 5 races this season so far. Hasn't won any of them. And now Goforth is right on the back of him, trying to win his first career NSDCA race. You saw Antoine Smith do so at Michigan a couple weeks back in the Truck Series. And now Cody Goforth is trying to do the same thing here, win his first NSDCA race. And look at that camera angle right there. All those front guys, single file, chasing each other down into one with a big pack at the back. And Cody Goforth is going to try to take the lead away from Jefferson here. Might be able to get it, but I don't know if that inside line is going to be too powerful coming off the corner as Bowers, Friesen go up top. The Dodges drafting with each other, and that's going to get Jefferson clear of Goforth for that race lead once again. Friesen all over the back of Goforth now into turn number 2 as they head on down, but it looks like Jefferson's just going to pull away. Bowers trying to get that move done on Goforth. Friesen sliding up, and Peter Onjak charging through the field. Look at Larry Hagan. Give him a shout out. The little hug, number 21, back there in the 6th position. And as good as Hagan and Jefferson have ran this season, both of them fighting to point their way into the chase, though Hagan has dropped to 22nd in points after a bit of a couple bad races lately. TSR still has 0 wins. Not with Jefferson, Hagan, Spurley 2, Bright, or Butcher. And Butcher, of course, DNQing this race for TSR in the 88. But they're trying to break the Toyota dominance that we've seen this season and trying to get Jefferson or Hagan their first win on the year. Riley Spurley-Tube is a bit competitive as well. We'll go back and take a look where he is. There he is in the 19th position. Started this race 18th, so he's running about where he was in this race. This car hasn't been too good this year. I think it's really been the 3rd-tier car at TSR, but he's still running pretty good, still fighting up near the top in some of these races, but he is not getting the finishes that he is deserving. He's 28th in points, and that I guess that's just a theme with TSR. These guys can run so good as C. Goforth is taking the lead away from Jay Jefferson. The TSR guys can run so good all race, and at the end it just comes unraveled from them. Jefferson with a mechanical failure or a crash that costs him big time, or that pit strategy call at Richmond. You have Hagan who runs up front, but again, he does not have a good pace at the end of the races to hang on up here. Spurley-Tube's been mid-pack pretty much this whole season. Bright has been struggling bad this whole season, but Butcher can't even make races half the time. As Bowers, I thought he was going to send Jefferson 3 wide. He's going to send Jefferson up the track. JJ's not afraid of it, though, handling that 48 beautifully coming through the corner, and he is going to keep it off the wall and take the lead back from Goforth. Bowers into 3rd. Onjak 4th as Hagan and Friesen mark a train down on the inside of Onjak, side by side for the 5th spot between those two. Lane, Irving, Allison. There's Benyako, Anderson Reed, Roger Ray, another PA native. Anderson Reed grew up in Maryland but was born in PA, and now he's repping the Wawa colors on this since he was in Sheets country out at Steelback. He's now with his people, the Wawa team, out here on the eastern side of Pennsylvania, trying to get that team into victory lane for the first time this year. He had some great runs at the short tracks this year, trying to improve that as this goes. Just looking back here, there is Kukulon finally making his way into the 20th position. Started this race deep in the field, 34th. He's the one really charging through the field. Not too far behind as Dusty Neal started 35th and Brandon Morris started 32nd, but they are not charging through the field as much as these guys are, as Alloway and Johnson getting real close there. Morris only 27th, Neal 25th, I think, as he gets around Zachary DeLello. Looking the rest of the way, Picard at the back, Monaco and Patrick Smith at the very back of this one. 9 of 60 complete here at the Comcast Pennsylvania 500. Jefferson, Goforth, Friesen, Bowers, and Onjak, your top 5. Field starting to spread out. We'll see when pit stops will be with a bit of a smaller fuel tank than the trucks on these cars this weekend. See what it'll look like. Coming back to you live here at Pocono.
How to make chocolate milk. Start with milk, add Hershey's syrup. Stir well, and voila! Chocolate milk, made by you, and rich, delicious Hershey's syrup.
Back live here at the Tricky Triangle. Cody Goforth has been pressuring Jefferson for the last lap and a half, now making a move for the lead once again. Friesen clear into 3rd as the pack back behind him fights together. If we're looking at it, possibly we could be seeing pit stops coming up within the next few laps. If the trucks could make it to lap about 26 on fuel, these guys should be able to make it to about 14 or 15 on fuel, and that will be what the fuel window will look like. Goforth leads over Jefferson now in second. Friesen third as Jay sends it right back to the bottom of the 17. Not going to happen, though, as Goforth slides up the track, carrying momentum through here. And that's the big thing about this track and about the Cup Series in general, at least until it turns into the Truck Series with the development, making these cars faster and faster and spreading the teams out more and more. We'll see, you know, a lot of drafting here. It's going to be a ton of drafting down these long straightaways, trying to get as much momentum as you can, and it's going to be big on how you exit these corners as well. Turn 1, you can carry a lot of speed through a banked corner. You don't have to let off as much because that banking will help you turn that car. But down into turn number 2, turn number 3, heavy braking zones after some pretty long straightaways are big key passing points. You can make a bunch of moves coming off of 1 and a drag race down into 2. But how you break into turn 2 and get off coming through into turn 3, that is a very technical section of the course that could make for a bunch of passing opportunities. But as you see, no matter what, the draft is king here. All the way back to Sebastian Kugelon now at the tail end of this. It looks like that is the top 20 pretty much under a blanket, all within the draft of each other and packed very close together. If we do see green flag pit stops, that'll spread it out very far, and that's when you'll see the faster cars really rise to the top because they'll have the better single car speed. But if this pack is still together, it's going to be very hard for the 48, 17, 85, and these other guys to pull away from the rest of them. They're pulling a bit away from Benyako, but he can bring it right back in. Going to the wide angle shot here, all 20 cars under a blanket coming through turn number 1. Looking a bit further behind, you got Jeff Alloway, Austin Johnson, and Morris in the 55, and Dusty Neal. So Morris and Neal, 23rd and 24th right now, slowly working their way through. There's Yepes in the 35 struggling. Burkhardt having a pretty bad day. He's been kind of off the last few races in the 99. William Duncan's only up to 32nd right now, but he's doing better than Yamakaze, who was 38th last time, so he just passed the 52. That's where that math is coming from. But it looks like we're having pit stops now. Onjak real close to Friesen, and here we go. Coming on down, Jefferson, Goforth, going to be the first ones in. 14 laps, we said it, about 14 laps on the fuel window, so if we're looking at that coming to lap 15, you're splitting it up into 3 pit stops with 1, the final one, if this race somehow goes green, and the Truck Series did. If this race goes green, you're going to see probably these guys really close on fuel, but you know, if you could just stretch one of those stints, maybe a lap or 2 more, you might have it. But Goforth, Jefferson, Irving Allison, Benyako, Max Anderson, Austin Johnson, and a bunch of back markers all come in together. We're going to go back up to the race lead up front, as now we'll see Carter Friesen leading this race. That is their first lap lead of the day, and now you see a ton of those cars starting to go down. That's how you know when you're coming into pit. Usually on these tracks, you'll see a lot of these guys dip down low and get ready to come on in. So we'll see if anyone does stay out. It looks like Sebastian Kugelon will in the 19. So Sebastian Kugelon might have just been trapped out there, but that is going to be big for his hopes here, because that's going to put him an extra lap. And you see Yepes back there in the 35 as well. That's going to put him an extra lap or 2 maybe over the rest of them on their fuel runs. So this 19 and 35, if they can stretch these fuel runs the same, about 14 to 15 laps, even with just 1 extra lap, that could be big for them. And you see, I said, when we get those pit stops, the field's going to start spreading out, and the difference between first and second, or what would be first and second now, maybe about a second between Jefferson and Goforth, maybe just a little bit more, and then all the way back to Benyako, and then there's Austin Johnson, Vargas, and the back of the field's not too far behind. Here's Kugelon in the 19, so he's going to bring it in now, but he's going to get, I think he got the lap lead. Yes, he did, so he does get a bonus point for that in the 19. So now he's going to bring it on in, and coming in on lap 16, if you make it 15 laps, still 2 more pit stops left in this race, but he should be good to make it to the end of it. Now Carter Friesen all over the back of Jefferson. That is your first and second. Bowers would be third, Goforth fourth. There's Onjak fifth, Hagen sixth. Benyako back into a pack with Irving Allison, Max Anderson, Colton Lane, Tib Foster, who's charged his way through the field. The 40 was the lowest qualifying Onj Auto car, all the way back in the 22nd position. He's made his way into the top 10 now. Curtis Lane, Austin Johnson, Porta, Roger Ray, Anderson Reed. There's Neal and Morris. So those guys charging on up through. There's Daniel Cobbs. It looks like a bit of a slow stop for Logan Cloud back there. Jeff Alloway losing a ton of time there. He's going to lose probably about 12 or 13 spots. And there's Kukulon now. Leader's blowing right by him as Jay Jefferson's the one out in front. Now you just got to watch. Do not go 3 wide. I thought Kukulon was ahead of that. I thought they were going to just run over Sebastian Kukulon. That they did not. Kukulon merges back out just behind it. But now you're looking at Jay Jefferson all the way out in front in that 48. He's out to a pretty good margin now over Carter Friesen in second, Cody Goforth third, Bowers fourth, Onjak fifth. A bit of a role reversal to how it's been. We got Dodges in the top 6 except for Cody Goforth. Then you got a Ford of Max Anderson, a couple more Toyotas with Kukulon now. A great strategy call, picks him up a ton more time. So Kukulon charging towards the front, trying to win a race again this year, trying to pick up his 3rd win. He has not won since race number 2 at Las Vegas when he started the season, winning both races. It's been a little bit downhill since, but he's still the points leader. Downhill for that being he hasn't won yet in those recent races. And give a shout out to Austin Johnson. Car was unsponsored for the last few races. They had Kalahari booked already for this race and a handful of other races this season. Of course, with the move of the 51 team and all those changes that we saw a couple weeks ago at Steelback, a couple sponsors left, but the 51 Kalahari car staying here, and I think Kalahari's got to be happy with this run. Top 15 for Johnson, and he's really improved his own team. You had Vince Freeze, who DNQ'd multiple races for the 51 car, as well as the 62 car when he drove in there. He's now in the 34, pretty much running at the back of this pack. And you had Bobo Jones, who didn't really shine too much at the road courses, but Austin Johnson, top 15 right now, and being a very competitive race car. He could probably not win a race in that 51 unless something goes his way, but he's having a great day nonetheless, and if he plays a little bit more strategy, could end up with a top 10 to finish out his race today here at Pocono. Jay Jefferson is off to the races, though, in that 48, leading over Carter Friesen and Cody Goforth, Peter Onjak, and Carson Bowers. Peter wants to get himself back to victory lane, came up just short of the championship last season. Of course, that was to Jay Jefferson in both championship runs, so this is his year. Remember, though, the thing about the NSDCA, we have a lot of trends, and one of the trends shows this is a year for Onjado to win a title. They won in Season 1 of the Mountain Dew Custom Series with Peter Onjak, won in Season 3 of the Mountain Dew Custom Series with Tim Foster, and Season 5 of the Crown Royal Truck Series with Carson Bowers. Now you're seeing Bowers and Onjak 2nd and 3rd in points entering this race. Tim Foster 6th in points entering this race. You also have Daniel Cobbs, Eric Monaco, Jesse Turner, and Alex Fletcher, all who have a shot to make the chase this season in the Crown Royal Truck Series. There is a very realistic chance and a very high possibility that we could see one of those cars that we just mentioned in the championship winning circle in any of those series. The only one I can't really see is Mountain Dew Custom Series. Evan Hunter, Austin Delgado have been pretty disappointing in that championship fight so far. I think they're a little too far back to really come back up in this one. But one driver that's maybe not too far back to come back up in this one are those guys that we were looking at, Friesen, Goforth, and Onjak, who have picked up time on Jefferson. And that's what we noticed in the truck race. You could pull out into the race lead, but if a couple guys behind you just had draft, they could start catching you, even if you have a fast car like this 48 is. It was 1.6 last time, now to 1.3, so 0.3 a lap for now, and they were battling. Onjak, though, going to make a big move to the inside of Friesen for 2nd. The Sauber Racing Team, they've been signing drivers to one-year deals. They've been getting drivers from other series. Their only development driver is Christian Vargas, who now finally has a truck ride again in that 08 truck and is running decently, but not too fantastic for the team. They have Riley Spurley, Carter Friesen, pretty much the star drivers in the Truck and Cup Series for him this year, and right now Friesen is doing great in what will be their final season. 16th in points. It's a bit behind where Porta was last year. And of course, the 85 hasn't won a race yet this season. As Goforth going to get a nose down there. But he's been up front for a good majority of these. Been in contention for race wins. We'll see if today is the day for Carter Friesen and that Sauber Racing 85 team as he drag races Goforth across the line. 22 of 60 complete here at Pocono. Foster Hagen pulling away, and there is Sebastian Kukulon working his way through the field. He's up to the 8th spot. We said, can Kukulon, Morris, and Neal all charge through the field, get up to the front, and try to win this thing? Kukulon leading that charge up to the 8th position. Looking a bit further back, there is Morris in the 55. He's 17th, looking for 16th, or maybe even 15th on Anderson Reed, and Dusty Neal back in the 19th position, just working his way through the field. So all three of those cars have been your biggest movers of the day so far. Charging through the field in these first 22 laps, 1/3 of the way complete here at Pocono. Go forth. Bowers now fighting as Onjak has caught Jefferson big time. We were going to go ahead, take a quick commercial break, but we will not, as now we got a battle between the championship rivals of last season, Onjak versus Jefferson up in front. Onjak has the draft. He's getting the momentum down the front straightaway, right to the back bumper. Now he's going to dive to the inside, battle for the race lead down into one. Does he send it? Yes, he does. And he is going to clear Jefferson coming off of the corner for the race lead. Almost. Will he get it done? And that he will give the race lead to Peter Onjak, the Knopf Menards 44. Now to the race lead for Onjato, holding on over TSR. And this is the battles we saw last season between Onjato and TSR. Also, Peter real close to the wall coming off the corner. But don't forget, these two are no longer alliance partners after this season. They are going to split up and go their separate ways. So we'll see if this will be a fight for the championship this year between these two and see which one gets the last laugh. Jefferson, of course, now the second driver to get to 2 championships, first driver to win 2 in a series. But now Peter Onjak and Onjato, they're looking to be the first team to win a championship in every series, I'm pretty sure. I do not think TSR has. No, never mind. TSR did get a Crown Royal Truck Series championship. They got it last year, so the 48 team got that over him, but Onjak would still like to win a title this year nonetheless. Side by side for the race leads, they go down into turn number 2. We'll see if Jay does the same move on Peter, sends it into 2. Gonna get a move done to the inside, side by side still, not gonna be able to clear him. Onjak fights back on the top. Here they go down into 3, another hard braking zone that you could make some big moves on, but that outside line can carry. We've seen Onjak make passes work on the outside. As he comes off the corner, he will clear Jefferson once again. Coming to lap 25 here at Pocono. It's been a long race so far. A lot of clean racing, but a lot of great action. We're going to go ahead and take another quick commercial break. Bring guys back to the action here at the Comcast Pennsylvania 500 right after this. Back live here at the Comcast Pennsylvania 500. The Tricky Triangle putting on some great racing so far. Jay Jefferson has taken the race lead back away from Peter Onjak with the help from Cody Goforth in the 17, who's caught back up. Friesen and Bowers in your top 5. And Onjak's going right back at him with a big run coming off of 3. He's been having some great exits coming off of 3. Looked like he had to check up a little bit on the exit there. Going to cost him some momentum down the front straightaway, but probably not too much time there. As you see, little further back, Tib Foster and the man behind him, Sebastian Kukulon, in the 19, could be the fastest guy on the track right now, but also could be the biggest threat to that top 5. He's pretty far back. He's not too close. He's 3.5 seconds back as Onjak and Jefferson going at it again. He's 3.5 seconds back as the 19 of Kukulon, but he's charging through the field very, very quickly as now Onjak looks to the inside of Jefferson for that race lead. Once again, that inside line not looking too hot here at Pocono. But more importantly, with just about 3 laps until we could be seeing some of these guys pitting once again, we're going to be getting ready for some more green flag pit stops to possibly shake this field up and spread it out even further. Top 5, though, under a blanket, and that is something to say about, especially after green flag pit stops. So much has to go in, getting down onto pit road and saving yourself some time. The crew's working together, and we still have these 5 under a blanket up front. Goes to show, even still with Toyota winning 7 of the 9 races this year so far, we have some kind of parity in the Cup Series this year. And what we're looking at is the top 5 have not won this year. Onjak and Jefferson have both been close. Goforth's been close. Friesen's been close. And Bowers has been close. All 5 of these guys have been close. They just haven't been able to seal the deal yet. The guy that has sealed the deal twice this year, Sebastian Kukulon, and one winner here in Road on the road courses at Willow Springs for Tib Foster, starting to chase that front group down. And we'll actually take a quick look and see what the gap will be this time by, especially with these front guys battling. With Onjak going to take the race lead in the 48, we'll see what the gap is here from first back to 6th. As Kukulon's going to cross the line right there. and gained him half a second. So the squabbling up front, that's how it is at these draft tracks. If you start battling too hard, you start losing momentum. If instead of being single file like the guys behind him are, Kukulon and Foster, nose to tail in a tandem working together, and they might be in that front pack before you know it. There's Hagan, Colton Lane, Jefferson making a move once again for the lead. So these two have been dogfighting it out for the race lead, and that's costing this whole pack time. But I don't think they care, especially with pit stops coming up. If Kukulon's going to gain some time, it's going to be probably on pit road that he could jump up to the front, and that's 19's been pretty fast now. Jefferson throws it to the inside of Onjak. He's on the grass, so I don't know if both of these guys are trying to pit or what. I think Jefferson definitely is, and that he will, as Onjak, Friesen, and Bowers will stay out. So that front group again, Jefferson and Goforth, leading the charge. They'll be the first ones in, and I'm not completely sold on this strategy. With Jefferson in that 48 car and Goforth in the 17, and all those guys come. Well, Yamakaze came down already, so he's definitely going to be short if he can't extend a lap. So if all these guys come in, they might be running out coming to the white flag. And we saw in the truck race, we could go to overtime even after a pretty green flag race. 52's coming on in, so there is Onjak, Friesen, and Bowers. Kukulon, Foster trying to hang on. The rest of this field is up there. Morris in the 55 starting to charge through the field now. He's cleared a bunch of the hubbub. Dusty Neal is fighting some Monster Motorsports cars, but still has a chance to get up there. And now here comes Onjak in the 44 coming on around, and you see Kukulon, he's not coming in. And with that extra lap, so what you're really seeing here, Kukulon will have fresher tires. He's doing a bit more of an overcut strategy compared to everyone else. And if he has maybe even one lap fresher tires at the end of this one and enough fuel to make it, he could be golden. But also, Matty Porta stays out with him. See Picard coming out right there. Stephen Walls Jr. is going to stay out. Yamakaze already came in. Strigley is going to stay out as well. And now we're looking at the other one. There was one more. Yepes is coming in this time, so that is going to cost him a bit of time. But I think these guys on this first strategy, or the second and third lap strategy, when they're coming in, I think those are the guys that are going to be able to make it to the end if this race does indeed go green. We're just after the halfway point here at Pocono, and it is all Sebastian Kukulon out in front for now. But he should be bringing that 19 car in either this lap or next lap. I don't know if he's coming in this time. We'll see. Doesn't look too low coming through turn number 3. And no, Kukulon's going to stay out an extra lap, so he's not even just going to extend by one lap. He's going to make sure he has enough fuel possibly in that car to make it for a long time. Possibly, could he even make it, well, not to the end of the race on just 2 more pit stops. After he makes this one, he'll have 1 more, but will he have enough? Maybe he's thinking about that green-white checkered possibility and trying to see maybe if he comes in later and later, he'll maybe have 5 laps coming to the end of that race and could be the only one making it to the end on the fuel. That's what we saw last year. Don't forget, we had the green-white checkered that put a ton of cars over their fuel windows. They all came in on with 1 to go, and it was a 9-car shootout for the race win that time. As now Kukulon, he's going low. It looks like he'll be coming in this time, or he's shooting under Jeff Alloway. One or the other. No, he's going to be on that apron, so he will be bringing the 19 down to the service of his crew this time. Matty Portas and Stephen Wallace Jr. already came in. So here's the battle for the race lead coming back around as Kukulon comes down to pit. It's Jefferson, Onjak, Goforth, Friesen, and Bowers, your top 5 still, but Bowers a bit further behind as Onjak is all over the back of Jefferson. 32 of 60 complete. Well, it's been a bit of a wait here while we've been running. It's been a bit of a green flag run, so why not? Let's do an NSDCA first for this season. Go ahead, turn up those speakers. It's time for an NSDCA. Crank it up. sitting on the visor cam before time winner Brandon Morris this season. As he's fighting Larry Hagan coming around this corner, going to take a quick lap around here on the board of that 55. You see how they could just slide it in down into turn 1, carry a lot more momentum. You see that speed bar in front of the driver. As you see, that just keeps climbing as you go through that corner. You can carry a lot of speed down there. Then you're hitting pretty much max throttle, full speed coming into turn number 2. And that right there is when you get on the brake. You got to let out a little bit, but you can still carry some speed through here. The real tight corner and the real heavy braking zone is down here into turn 3, where you have to drive it on in and pretty much slam the brakes real quick to get down to slow enough so you can keep that inside line, hug that inside line coming on around, and you gas it up back around here at Pocono. That's a lap around this Pocono tricky triangle out here in Long Pond, PA. And as we're looking, Morris now has picked up another spot. Kukulon lost some time on that pit strategy call, might have stayed out a lap too late, but now they are 7th and 8th, the 55 and 19 charging their way through the field. We saw a bit earlier in that crank it up. Dusty Neal looks like he's stalling out around the 17th position. Going back up front, though, Onjak starting to lose time as Friesen and Goforth got by him, but side by side for third between Onjak and Friesen, as Jay Jefferson and the Cobalt Tools 48 is out in front. 36 to 60, 24 laps to go, still a long way, and at least one more pit stop left here before we go ahead and end this race. So one more pit stop for all these teams should be coming. You'll be watching that around the lap 45 to 48 time frame. It's been 37 laps of great racing here. It's been clean all the way. We're going to go ahead and take another commercial break and bring you guys back to the action of the Comcast Pennsylvania 500. Jefferson, Goforth, Onjak, Friesen, and Bowers been dominating most of this race. Bring you guys back to the action right after this.
If only there was a place nearby you could get one of these. Or these. Good thing they're sold literally everywhere business is done. I'm pretty sure you could buy them at a bank. Not sorry, Reese's.
Back live here at Pocono as Peter Onjak ran straight through Cody Goforth, puts the 17 into the wall. Don't know if he missed his braking zone or what, but that is some heavy right side or left side damage to the 17, and he lost a ton of time through that corner. So now Jefferson was getting caught by those guys. He's going to lose some time again. Friesen's going to clear both of them up into second. That is a big loss for the 17 at Goforth, and that is a big hit to him. Arrow key here at Pocono. With these long straightaways, you have to use some of that draft, and that is going to slow you down with some left side damage. There's some severe left side damage too, but you don't know what happened. Maybe to that front wheel of the number 44. He got in there, tore it up, so he could have a flat tire in that 44 and a possibility if that fender starts rubbing on him. But the top 4 now still single file under a blanket. Friesen really going after Jefferson now. And we want to point out, we missed this a while ago. It's been about 10 laps now that he's been out of the race. But Austin Murray fell out of the race with a camshaft issue around those last cycle of pit stops. And speaking of pit stops, we're about 5 laps away from another run of those. So let's go ahead real quick and go through the field as this race has been going on for a pretty long time, starting with Jay Jefferson, who has led the most laps out of anyone this race. 24 laps led this weekend so far. Matthew Eves was dominant in both of the truck races as well. So the 48 has been out in front a very long time at Pocono. Jefferson won both of the truck races last season here. I don't know if he won this race last season or not. He has a strong car always when you come to Pocono, especially with how strong that 48 team is. And he is out in front right now as Friesen now going to try to block Onjak. Does not want to get dumped that time as Carter Friesen, who is in second, will hit him next. Friesen has been having a great day. Top 5 run for the Sauber Racing Team number 85. He's enjoying the heck out of this ride. And his final year of competition, trying to get just one last win for that 85 team. It took him 5 years between his first 2. Let's see if he could get one in the final year. They're saying that this car is handling very well. He thinks he can win it. He just needs these guys to work with him if they are going to get him into victory lane. Peter Onjak made the move a little bit ago to up to second, so he is running in the second position, and he thinks he has a car to beat Jefferson. Last week at Nashville, though, he was one of the drivers that just could not get around Morris in those closing laps. Got right up to him, but just didn't have enough to make a move him out of the way, do anything to get around the 55. He knows how to get around the 48. He and Jefferson have been dogfighting for this race lead for the last about 30 laps of this race, and it's just going to get more hectic from here, especially after those pit stops. He knows he can make it to the end, but he knows if there's a green-white checkered, everyone pretty much will be screwed. That 44 team, he is right on the back of Jefferson, looking for that race lead. He's looking hungry for a race win this season. Cody Goforth has that left side damage from contact with Onjak as we came back from break. Never won in the NSDCA. That's been the story of his career the last seasons. He made the chase last year. He missed out on the chase in the Truck Series, but made the chase in the Cup Series and ran very well. Finished 6th in the standings. Made his move to BGM. Knew what he had to do. He had to prove he deserved the ride. He had to prove that he could win a race. And he's not winning a race right now as Onjak gets right up to the back of Jefferson, muscles him out of the way for the race lead. Down into turn number 2. Gets aggressive with him right on the quarter panel. And Peter Onjak is going to take the lead away from Jefferson. But as we were saying, Goforth in that third position in that 17. He knows what he has to do. He has to win this year, but he's been putting up some great performances. 7th in the point standings is nothing to laugh at. But that 17 team, he is running great in this race, and maybe that damage will cost him, but hopefully it will not. Top 4 go to battling. We go back to Kukulon in 5th, who is one of the biggest movers of the day. Started this race 34th. He's up to the 5th position. He won Las Vegas. He won Daytona, both of them by besting Jay Jefferson. One was on track. The final corner on the final lap, he got around Jay in the Sundrop 500 to get his first Cup Series victory. Followed it up with a win at Las Vegas after Jefferson pit for fuel. Right at the end when a caution came out, and it cost Jefferson everything, cost him all that track position. Kukulon took the lead, won the race. He knows he can get it done, looking for that 3rd win of the season for SBR. Tip Foster in 6th at the Sexside Batteries 40. He knows that he could get it done on ovals. He's done it before at Iowa, but he knows he cannot wait for the Motorsport event this season. He has won it 3 years in a row, twice in trucks and 1 in Cup. Can't wait for that to start the chase, and he said he wants to make the chase this year, go far, and try to win the title. Will he be able to be the one for Andrade? Will he join these guys as a 2-time champ? Or will he just have another season where he's kind of good on the road courses and falters late in the run? Brandon Morris has moved his way to 7th, another big mover with Sebastian Kukulon, but I don't know if he has race-winning pace this time. This is a speedway, it's a bigger track, and with that new equipment that he has, it might be a bit of a learning curve for him, but that learning curve must not be very steep. He's in the 7th spot, has gained a ton of spots, over 20 positions since the drop of the green flag, running very well, enjoying the heck out of his pit crew today. He said they are working so much better than they did at Road America. Happy to be out in front and feeling good in that race car. But here is one of the drivers. If Jay Jefferson has 2 championships this year and is looking for a 3rd in the Cup Series, he might have to go through Carson Bowers, who bested him before for the Crown Royal Truck Series Championship, and now he could best him in the Sundrop Cup Series Championship. The same time that Bowers won the Truck Championship, he had 1 win on the season. It was a consistent year of really just not finishing out of the top 10 at all during the chase, except for maybe 1 race. I think that was at Kansas when he just had to ride around to cap up those points. Bowers knows consistency. He doesn't know wins. He is not a flashy driver. He just knows how to drive fast. Wow, those guys were wide real quick. I thought there was an issue up there. But Bowers knows what he can do. He's right now in the 8th position, and as we get to there, we are going to see some pit stops, so this is the time. Fuel window opens up 45 of 60. You can make it 15 laps, and guess who's staying out? It is Kukulon in the 19 staying out. Matty Port is also going to stay out, but Kukulon is going to maintain the race lead, takes that away. And we're going to go ahead right there. There's Dusty Neal, William Duncan. So these guys pit a bit early. Yeah, you can make it about 16 laps, but you're definitely banking on this thing going green the rest of the way. So we'll see what these guys will do and if they'll have enough fuel. Irving, Allison Benyako, Anderson Reed, Max Anderson, Dusty Neal, William Duncan, Austin Johnson, Matthew Eves all already came in. So did Patrick Smith. Cars staying out an extra lap include Kukulon, Porta, Stephen Walsh Jr., Joseph Strigley, Vince Freeze, maybe Yamakaze. But here they come coming off a pit road now. There is Vargas going on by, and Jefferson now is going to pull away from Friesen. Go for it. They took some time to repair that car. It wasn't handling right. Bauer is going to lose some time now. Morris jumps up a couple spots. It looks like Hagan and Curtis are going to jump up a couple spots there into the race-winning fight. There is the 84 Ray, who's been having a great day so far, and everyone else coming off of pit road, and Kukulon staying out there in that 19. So Sebi is definitely making sure he can make it to the end of this one, as DeLello right on the bottom of him. Here we go. We'll see if the 19 of Kukulon will be able to hang on and possibly win this race, maybe outlasting everyone on fuel. But Porta, Stephen Wallace Jr. also stayed out. Strigley stays out one more lap. So these guys are going, I think they're praying on a green-white checkered finish to this race. Because if it is, no one's going to make it to the end except those guys. And that is going to be the interesting thing there to see what will happen in the closing stages of this event. Sebastian Kukulon, though, the driver, out in the race lead, trying to win this one. And here we go, coming around for his final pit stop of the day, the 19 car coming on down pit road. It looks like everyone else has come on in. There is Jefferson now catching up to Sam Picard. He's going to be a lapper now, as he might go a lap down to Jay Jefferson in this race. Jefferson really catching him fast, and you do not want to get in JJ's way when he's working around lap cars. He might end up turning you through the wall, as the 52 goes very wide now, trying to stay out of his way. We'll see how JJ works with this lap traffic. Carter Friesen in second. Peter Onjak third. Morris is up to fourth and charging. Goforth fifth. Foster sixth. Irving Allison seventh. Curtis 8th, Hagan 9th, Bowers 10th. So as Kukulon comes back off of pit road, there you see Jefferson go, and there is Kukulon in the 19. And he's going to probably lose a spot here to the 55 of Morris as they come down into the corner. Maybe they'll be even. Close enough. No, Morris is going to carry up the track and just barely miss him. And Morris is going to bounce off the wall there. So the 55 and 19 might just be stalling out around this fifth position if it isn't for possible fuel here at the end of this one. Bowers had a horrible pit stop. He's all the way back in the 11th position. Cody Goforth as well. I guess they were messing with the side door on that. He's back in 6th. So it's a 3-car battle between 3 Dodges, Jefferson, Onjak, and Friesen for the top spot. Jefferson carrying down into turn 1. He has the lap car of Picard now between himself, Peter Onjak, and Carter Friesen. Onjak in that 44 is chasing Picard now down for second. There you see Vargas at the edge of your screen, so still might have some lap traffic being a factor here. Doesn't look like anyone's as slow as Mike Cook. The 52 has fallen back far enough to go a lap down, but it was in about 12 laps later than Cook did in the truck races. We are over the distance of both truck races here. We're going to have 11 laps to go, and it's going to be settled between 3 drivers, 3 Season 1 veterans in Jefferson, Onjak, and Friesen. And Friesen, of course, won his first career race in the Mountain Dew Custom Series when Onjak and Jefferson had that title fight, and Onjak came home the victor in Season 1 of the Mountain Dew Custom Series. We'll see if Jefferson can hang on this time. He's dominated this race so far. So we'll see if the 48 will be able to do it, but the race that Eves dominated in the Truck Series got undone by a couple lappers, by a pretty poor pit stop at the end that cost him some time after he came off of pit road. So we'll see if Jay will fall to the same fate as that number, the number 48 in the truck race yesterday with Matthew Eves. Or he could either finish third like Eves did in race number 1 of the weekend, or he could finish in victory lane like he did in race number 2. We'll have to see. As Friesen and Onjak fighting for second is not going to get them to catch up to Jefferson at all. You also see Kukulon's about 6.5 seconds back, Morris about 7 seconds back, Goforth 7.5. So at this point, it's Jefferson's race to lose. It's the 85 and 44, the 2 drivers that are going to be the closest to him, and Picard, if Picard wants to get back into this with the Ronnie Hank Racing number 52. That's right now sitting 39th, 1 lap down. But as these guys battle, if these guys battle, they're not going to catch him. 2.5 seconds back now are the 85 and 44 as they chase him down. Kukulon gained a bunch of time. Morris lost a bunch of time there in that 55. So we'll see if Kukulon has enough in his car himself to drive on up there. Still 4 seconds between him as Onjak and Friesen go back at it for the second position. Top 8 spots are all Dodges or Fords, or Dodges or Toyotas. You got DJ Curtis in the lone Chevrolet. He's in 9th. Bowers back in 11th. Colton Lane, another Chevrolet in 12th. There's your pole sitter, Alex Beniaco, 13th. Roger Ray, 14th. Logan Cloud, 15th. Matty Portis, 16th. Reed, 17th. William Duncan, a great recovery drive after failing post-qualifying inspection. He's up to the 18th position. Just looking for a top 20 day for Ditech. Could be a major gain for that 33 team. But I think he's just trying to bring it home clean and keep it on all fours, as Neil does not want to keep it clean on him. Rides him right up the racetrack. But we'll see if William Duncan will be able to take this one home to a top 20 finish. Keeping it clean for Ditech in the Okuma 33 Toyota. Max Anderson started this race 10th. He's fallen back pretty far. Everyone's single file. Every time I see that, I usually think they're coming to a caution, but I saw Neil make a move there. We are still green after 52 laps here. You got Riley Spurleytube not having a good day. And really, that's been the name of the game for all three of these guys. Downey's been fighting go or go home all season long. Spurleytube and Edson really not performing up to par with SBR and TSR standards this year. Spurleytube back in the 28th position. Jacob Edson, I'm pretty sure even further behind. No, Edson's only 24th in that 82 car. Patrick Smith, 33rd for CFRO. Eric Monaco, Eli Bright has some damage. There's Vince Freeze. Mikey Yamakaze and Jay Jefferson now working past the 06 of Christian Vargas. There's Friesen and Onjak, 2nd and 3rd. Kukulon and Morris, 4th and 5th. And I think as we're coming to the end of this one, just 7 more laps to go. And the 48 of Jefferson has it made. This is a bigger lead than Eves had all weekend long in the truck race. It looks like it's probably over 3 seconds now. It was just under 3 seconds last time. But Friesen and Onjak, they've been fighting a bit. You see battle for 4th heating up between the Toyotas, Morris and Kukulon for the 4th position. 55 versus 19, 2 of your big star drivers this season. And it really looks like Kukulon's going to keep that points lead. He might not. Onjak actually has... He has some laps led, so they both have those bonus points, but I think he's just far enough that he could pass Kukulon in the points. Maybe if he gets 2nd over Friesen, those two would tie. I think that's how much the 6-point gap would need to be between those two, with 2nd to 15th all separated by 2 points per position. But no one's going to catch Jefferson, who's at the bottom of your screen right now, exiting the bottom of the screen. Friesen and Onjak are nose to tail. It's a bit too late to do that. You would have had to do that a while ago to keep up and keep in the draft of the 48. I don't think you can catch him in time. But the question is, does he have enough fuel to make it to the end? You can make it, we said, about 15 to 17, maybe even 18 laps. But the 48 has not ran that this whole time. Maybe he was just doing, even splits to make it to the end of the race. But he also could be running that engine in high fuel mode, high fuel burning mode over there for TSR. And they've had a lot of problems with engines in the past. So we'll have to see if he can bring it home this time. It's been a pretty mechanical failure-plagued season for the 48. He's had damage, he's had crashes, he's had just flat-out bad strategy calls. And 5 more laps around this tricky triangle, he's going to try to take it to victory lane as he looks to the inside of Yamakaze and clears the 01 of Yamakaze. Another lap car goes down to the 48. Friesen and Onjak still have to get by Christian Vargas, though. Never mind. It looked like they gained some time, but they've just been losing time, Friesen and Onjak have. And the story this year, other than the Toyota dominance, is when will Jay Jefferson break himself into victory lane? He's had all those issues. He's had wins basically stolen from him. He had a lot of them stolen last year as well. Came home to the championship after that one. We'll have to see if this race could be the spark underneath him to get back into victory lane and continue his streak of seasons with wins. I think he has probably four seasons with race wins. I don't know about 2 and 3, season 2 and season 3. I don't think he won a race then, but I know he's been winning races in the Truck Series and the Cup Series. And now looking for his 2nd season in the Cup Series with a race win, looking to kick off maybe another 5 race win season if he can do so here, if he can capitalize. But we are now 4 laps away, so about 10 miles away from the end of this race for the 48 team. Not much more to say. He's pulling away, but they've caught him by a little bit. They got around Vargas and picked up a decent chunk of time on him. They were, what, three seconds back a little bit ago. Now they're 2.1. I don't know if Jefferson's now, trying to save some fuel. Maybe he's in that fuel-saving mode in that 48, because he's going to be probably one of the closest ones making it to the end on fuel, other than those guys that pit pretty early on. Kukulon, though, remember, Sebastian Kukulon pit later than everyone. He's had that fuel tank has been filled up every time, and he's taken it pretty far. Now Onjak goes for second on Friesen. Is Yamakaze coming to pit road? Jefferson staying out, so if Yamakaze comes in, he pit maybe 2 laps ahead of these guys. Now, he is also a lap car. He's probably not really caring. He just wants to make it to the end of the race. Now the question is, with Yamakaze coming down, does Jefferson actually have enough fuel to make it to the end? If not, the 19 of Kukulon, these guys behind him wouldn't be too far after. So if Jefferson can continue to stay out, and I think he's going to run it as far as he can until that crew chief tells him that he needs to come in, and even then he might just ignore him. He's so far out ahead over the 48 and 85. He's the whole tunnel turn away from him, probably about a good portion of this short shoot. Yeah, he's about half the short shoot ahead. So we're coming down now. 2 laps to go. Does the fuel hold up for Jefferson? Does he finally get that race win? And all he's looking for now is that white flag. He has 1 more lap until we get to the white flag. But that is what he is looking for. He wants to see it. He wants to see the white in the air. Top 5 out there. The lappers are pitting. Freeze is in, Vargas is in, and Sam Picard is in. None of the lead lap guys are coming in, though. So the lappers are probably just trying to make it to the end, trying to ensure that they can make it to the end of the race. They're not really picking up spots. But here we go. This could be a fuel strategy race to the end. If not, it's Jefferson's race to lose at this point. Whatever happens, it's going to be on Jefferson, as he has dominated this race so far. Led a race-high 39 laps. If he leads this one and the next one, it'll be 41-60 he has led. Doesn't look like he's going low. Side by side for second between Friesen and Onjak. They're just racing each other to see if that 48, if he does indeed run out of fuel coming around this last time by, that could be the best for the win right there. But coming down the front straightaway, 2.5 miles to go around this triangle for Jay Jefferson, who has absolutely dominated this race for TSR. Dodge looking for the comeback this weekend. They have only won 1 race this year. That was Tib Foster at Willow Springs. Jay Jefferson in the 48. He's come so close many times this season. Now you see Onjak and Friesen fighting each other. As Eves, he ran out of fuel. So cars are still running out of fuel. You're not safe yet. But coming through the tunnel turn for the final time. It's been a masterclass of a race today. This is how you show domination. This is how you come back into victory lane with a bang. The 48 of Jay Jefferson through 1 more corner. He launched out to the race lead. He dominates this race, leading 41 of the 60 laps today. And Jefferson's going to find himself back into victory lane. The crowd goes crazy. Your defending champ Jefferson wins at Pocono. Kukulon and Morris going to fight their way to a top 5, starting this race outside the top 30. Rest of the field cycling on around. Logan Cloud is going to stay very far ahead of the 91 of Jeff Alloway, so Alloway's hype might be coming to an end. He ran pretty well at the short tracks. Not else. Caution is out on the track, so someone's gone around. It's Vince Freeze in the 34, torn up there. But the race is already over. They already crossed the start-finish line, and you see a lot of these guys running out of fuel at the end. They pushed it as far as they could. But Jay Jefferson in the Cobalt Tools number 48 for Texas Star Racing finally breaks back into victory lane, and Jefferson gets to celebrate here at Pocono. What a drive by the TSR 48, showing that he is not washed up, showing that he just needed a chance and he needed things to go right for once, and he gets back into victory lane, making it 2 races for TSR this weekend. They also won the Reese's 300 with the 48 of Matthew Eves. As well, you had Jose Perez win for Dodge this weekend in GDI. But what a finish we had, and a second completely green flag race of the weekend. Fantastic to see, especially for all those team owners. Only the 24 ends up with the mechanical failure. But Jay Jefferson's going to get to celebrate on the big front straightaway and burn it down in front of the crowd. You know he's been waiting for this. He is happy to get himself into victory lane. A couple other cars had good runs today. Peter Onjak, Carter Friesen coming home second and third. Again, Kukulon and Morris picking up 30 spots apiece to get up to fourth and fifth. Go Forth had a competitive car. So did Bowers. They really screwed up that last caution. Looks like Anderson Reed not too happy with Daniel Cobbs back there. They're having a bit of a scuffle down on pit road. A couple cars staying out on track there. Larry Hagan comes home with the top 10. Tib Foster a top 10. He charged through the field. Bowers loses a ton of time on that last pit stop. Ends up 11th. Logan Cloud 13th. Has to be pretty good. Jeff Alloway 28th. So his first two races were short tracks. Well, I-69 is speedway, but it is a smaller track. More with braking. So maybe the 91 might be struggling on these bigger tracks. We'll have to wait and see for a few more. Edson Spurley tube near the back. 4 cars ran out at the end, or 5 cars ran out at the end, that being Eves, Freeze, Vargas, Yamakaze, and the 52 of Sam Picard with Austin Murray out of this one. Jay Jefferson gets to celebrate in victory lane, beating his longtime rival Peter Onjak. Carter Friesen in their final year third. Kukulon and Morris, your top 5. What a race we had. Came down almost a strategy at the end. Did not matter, though. Well, that was an exciting race. A lot of green flag racing. Nice to see here a change in the Cup Series. Has been a pretty chaotic last few races with the short track races. Looking like the trucks this weekend. And trucks have been putting on some amazing shows so far this season. The next race of the season will be the longest one of the year, the Texas World 600. It will be a 100 laps around the 2-mile oval, so 200 miles around that big track over Memorial Day weekend. Great race was had. Jay Jefferson wins in a dominant fashion by 3.6 seconds over Peter Onjak. We'll see you guys next time out at Texas World. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time on the NSDCA.